Well, hey everybody, and welcome to Rhode Island on this cold February day. You know, recently I've gotten a lot of questions when I put up videos of either my starting the bike or riding the bike, and I get a lot of questions from people about, you know, well, hey, why doesn't it have any brakes? Or wait, where's the clutch? Is it an automatic? All these sorts of questions. So I thought I'd do a video just to kind of talk about how these things run. Now, I know a lot of you are really experienced with Harley-Davidson motorcycles, particularly vintage Harley-Davidson motorcycles. So this video isn't really aimed toward you, but you can certainly tell me if I do anything wrong. But for people that are really interested in the history of Harley-Davidson and are kind of new to it, perhaps this video would be good, a little look around. Now, this is a 1941 Harley-Davidson WL, and it's called a flathead or a 45. So it operates in a different way. The controls, in other words, are in a different spot. And really the controls for motorcycles weren't really codified, or I should say standardized maybe, until probably the 1970s. So not that long ago, or anyway, not that long ago for me. Maybe for you it's before you were born, I have no idea. But so around the 1970s, everything got standardized. So on this bike from 1941, things are quite different. So a lot of times people are saying, hey, where's the front brake? You know, on new bikes, we're kind of accustomed to all the braking being here, the front brake being here and the rear brake being on the floor. But that wasn't true on these bikes. On this bike, the front brake is actually over here. Come on over a little bit. So here's the front brake right here, hand control like you're familiar with, although usually on the other side. And you can see down here, there's my front brake on the left side right here. So when I operate this lever, that operates the front brake. So on this side, I've got nothing. I've got my throttle, and the throttle on these bikes is a little bit different because when you open the throttle, there's no automatic return. So you also have to close the throttle if you open it. So it's very important that while you're riding, you understand that, because if something goes wrong, you've got to shut that throttle down so the bike doesn't keep running on its own. All right, come on over to the other side here. So the clutch question that people ask is actually down here. So I'm operating it with my hand right now, but I'll stick my foot on there. So I'm disengaging the clutch here, and I'm engaging here. So when I want to shift gears, I shift here, I shift in this position, and then I roll it down like this to go forward, to engage. So, and the shifting itself, if you want to come on up here, the shifting itself is done on the tank. So here's my tank shifter, and I've got 3 gears, 1, 2, and 3, and then of course I'm in neutral right now. So brake is up here, clutch is on the floor, shifting is on the tank, a little bit different. On the other side is the rear brake. That's normal, or is probably what you're used to. So here's the rear brake. Anyway, so come on over again, and we'll take a look at starting this up. Now, it is pretty cold today. It's about freezing here, and I haven't started it up yet, so we'll go through the whole procedure for starting a cold bike. And actually, procedure it is. So if you look in the owner's manual of this thing, there's quite a list of things to do. And that's actually part of what I really enjoy, is kind of the ritual around starting the bike, rather than just pressing a button and going, which I have bikes that do that. I have a modern Harley-Davidson that I take on long trips, and you know, I don't mind that in the least. But it's fun to ride this bike. Okay, so let's take a look at really what's happening when I sit down and I'm like fiddling with all the knobs and controls. First and foremost, it's the fuel. So for a lot of bikes now, fuel-injected bikes and things like that, you really don't have to turn the fuel on. A lot of them have fuel petcock underneath here, but in this case, we just have this to open up here. So I'm going to open this up, make sure that the fuel is running. This also has a setting where if I've run out of fuel, the bike starts sputtering, or I can tell by the mileage that I'm just about out of fuel, I can pop this up for my reserve tank. It gives me a little bit of extra fuel, but I don't need that right now. Presumably I'm pretty good on fuel. I got to make sure that I'm neutral when I'm starting it. I got to make sure that my clutch is forward, like so, and my choke, so it's not a fuel injected bike, my choke's got to be set up in here. Now, on this handle, I also have a way to increase or decrease, so advance or retard the spark. So if you come over on this side, you can see right down here, I'm not sure you can see it moving as I move it. This, I could advance the spark all the way, and here I could retard the spark. So generally speaking, I'm going to start this you know, I like to start it about in the middle. I think in the book it says you should be almost advanced all the way, but I tend to start it about there. Okay, so now that I've got all of those things sort of set up, come on around this side again. We'll get ready to, so I've got the choke in the right place, I've got the clutch in the right place, I'm in neutral, got my spark set in the right place. Sorry, around one more time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out the kicker pedal here, and I'm going to open up my throttle all the way. So my throttle's open now, and I'm just going to prime the bike with a couple of kicks and get some fuel in there. So we'll do one, whoops, we'll do two. So now we've got a couple of kicks in there. So now that I primed the engine a little bit, we're going to come back over here to the choke. That's going to go down one click, just about there. Come on over here. We can finally turn the ignition on. Boom. So now we got some energy going. Make sure the spark's in the right place. And hopefully we'll kick and we'll open up, we'll kick and turn the throttle at the same time. Good, come on over. So now that it's running, I'm going to turn the choke down here, and I'm going to make sure the spark is advanced. Cool. All right, so now that everything's started, I should be able to turn on my headlight, and we're good to go. Come on over, let me just show you a little bit about how the clutch rolls out. So when I want to go, I got to make sure, first of all, that I'm in gear. So right up here, boom, make sure I'm in first gear. And then when I want to go, I'm going to roll the clutch pedal forward. And off we go, and of course give it a little bit of gas. And again, clutch pedal forward, and she goes. All right. Well, everybody, so that's the story with these 45 flathead motorcycles, in this case a 1941 WL. That's how you get it started. That's where all the controls are. I really appreciate your watching and following, and I hope you have a great rest of your winter.